Today, we're going to break down the term CAGR and how you can add this into your due diligence process. Hey there, my name is Chris Graby, and I love investing in startups, and I help everyday investors learn how they can invest in startups, sometimes for as little as a few $100s. Let's dive into the confusing world of CAGR and bring absolute clarity once and for all. Now, the definition of CAGR is compound annual growth rate, sometimes said as CAGR. Typically, the CAGR is over a period of time, say 3 to 5 years, typically for a company. And this is where you're able to calculate the compound annual growth rate of a company. Now, when they've got revenue and they've got it over multiple years, you can really focus on that growth. And to really understand CAGR, you have to have a general understanding and knowledge of compound growth. Now, this isn't quite like compounding interest that we learned about in the stock portfolio, but it is absolutely about compound growth, specifically revenue focused. Now, when someone talks about a CAGR, this isn't projections. No. CAGR is actually real numbers that you can look at. I get asked the question a lot, is CAGR a good tool to evaluate a startup before I invest? Well, it all kind of depends on the startup that you're looking at and the founder that you're talking to. Now, if the founder tells you that they have a certain amount of CAGR, they're saying that they're growing at this certain rate and compounding year over year, but they actually haven't put any points on the board or they're not even in revenue, that's not CAGR. That's projections. And projections are looking into the future, hoping that you could see that kind of compound growth. But CAGR is actual real numbers that have happened over the past few years. If you're able to see a startup's financials over, say, a 3 to 5 year period, then you can more easily calculate an actual true CAGR for that startup or for that company. And you can see if there has actually been any real growth and calculate the compounding growth from there. Let's dive into an example. Let's just say a startup has 5 years of their financials pulled together, and you can look across it in the various years. And you can see first year they grew by 5%. The second year they inched up a little bit, grew by 7%. And let's just say maybe the third year they grew by like 3%. Then they had a big year and grew by 15%. And then they just had an average year and grew by another 10%, right? Then you get to take these 5 years collectively, pull them together, and that's going to give you your calculation of your CAGR. You're going to take the cumulative number of all these years. That's going to give you your actual compound annual growth revenue. It's going to show you that rate of return. Now, you should use CAGR when evaluating a startup before you ever invest, especially if they have the numbers. Now, if they have the financials and they're being transparent with you, which is very important, then you can ultimately look at it and say, yes, I'm diving into these numbers, I'm reviewing these numbers, and I can see their CAGR. That is CAGR Explained. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video on the world of equity crowdfunding, learning the ins and outs. I'm excited to tell you that I just wrote a brand new book called The Angel Advantage. And it shares everything I've learned over the years of startup investing. All you have to do is click the link down in the description and you can go get your copy right now.